I literally had to wear waders because there was about 8 inches of water in the basement. And I'm standing in this basement looking outside. I can see outside. I can see the backyard from the foundation. Don't ever wave the lateral scope. I don't care if it's a brand new home. It can be new construction, and you don't know if heavy equipment ran over your line by accident. Don't operate in fear. Operate in knowledge.
Welcome today to Keys to Close, Steve.
I appreciate it.
I'm so excited to have you. If you don't mind just giving us a little brief introduction, who you are, your business name.
My name's Steve Morris, and I own Heritage Home Inspectors. We've been in business since I actually got my licensing in 2017, but did not launch until 2018.
Oh, okay.
And at that time, it was nerve-wracking, but because I went from a corporate job with a lot of stability to opening up a business in my 50s, which is kind of crazy.
That's brave, yeah. Right? Retirement around the corner and then...
Yeah, but it's been a blessing. Since then, we have performed over 6,400 inspections.
Wow.
We're probably going to cross over 7,000 this year. It's been a real blessing for the family, and I really enjoy it. Every day's different. Yeah. Every day's unique. So I really do. You know, but
you're so good at it too.
Well, I appreciate that.
We'll get into that, but I wanted to clarify too, because there's two kinds of home inspection certifications, right?
Or
I would like you to explain that.
Yeah, it's one of my frustrations with the state of Pennsylvania. They do not require licensing. Their specifications is that you are a good standing member of a national organization, ASHI or INTRNACHI. Okay. So that gives a lot of leeway on how a home inspector, and they even kind of make it a little bit frustrating because you have to have 100 inspections as under another home inspector. Which is very challenging, 100 inspections, because there's inspectors out there who just do 100 a year.
Right. Yeah, I didn't realize you guys had done 7,000 inspections. That's insane.
We will be, but yes.
That's way more than I'm sure a lot of other inspectors I know in the industry do.
We are averaging around 900 a year.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. I went to a course. I did online training. I took the proctored exam. I have national licensing. And then I went on with continuing my education, and I have become a certified master inspector.
Okay.
Which I think is like the next step.
Yeah.
In the inspection process. And then for both organizations, ASHI and INTRNACHI, you have to maintain 23 continuing education units per year.
Okay.
Which I think is tremendous.
Yeah, because that's a lot.
Think about it. The National Electric Code changes all the time.
Okay. That's,
building standards change all the time. Innovation has been tremendous over the probably past 20, 25 years. So you really have to, if you're going to be able to have a knowledgeable conversation with a buyer or a seller about what could be the possible remedies.
Right. And you have the master certification, but how would you direct clients to sort of pick an inspector, I guess, based on those qualifications? It seems to me like I've worked with you, I've worked with other inspectors as well that don't have that certification. And I don't know if it's just your personality or if it's the training, but you are very much thorough in your reports first. Yeah. Lots of details. But what I really appreciate is you really help buyers kind of weed out, okay, what is like the 911 here? And what is something that's, okay, like think about that. It could be a long-term investment, but you have a couple years with it. Is that you think just your personality and your expertise kicking in, or is that part of the training?
I think it's probably, I think a little bit of a combination. Okay. So you got to look at my background a little bit. And so when I was younger, I did construction. Mm-hmm. But most of my career was in sales and management. I was a manager for a number of years. And in that, I think I learned how to work with people.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be
The
really
other
helpful.
thing is, like you had mentioned, 911. I really don't think there's a 911. And what I mean by that is there is solutions to everything. And it's very, very important for the buyer to determine what their threshold is, because they may be very comfortable with rebuilding a foundation wall. I'll never forget this one guy. It was pretty early in my career, and I was up in Plum, and he was buying this investment property. I literally had to wear waders because there was about 8 inches of water in the basement. And I'm standing in this basement looking outside. I could see outside. I could see the backyard from the foundation. And the guy's like, you know what? We're going to jack it up because he said, like, I got this. I'm not going to say the amount, for a nominal amount.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to jack it up, rebuild the foundation, put in exterior French drains.
Yeah.
So his threshold was high.
Right. It worked for him.
And I just can't predict that. So, but there's solutions for everything. And it's really the buyer and the seller's communication to each other that makes that common ground.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think too, that's a really good point. Like, you're really good at staying neutral, staying calm.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of emotions involved, especially.
Tremendous amount.
I mean, I can't think of another time in a transaction that is more emotionally charged than the inspection contingency period. As an agent, I still get, every time we go under contract, I get a little like butterfly in my stomach because I'm like, please God, help this just be an easy one, And it's not necessarily that the homes are bad, to your point.
No.
It's the temperaments of which we have to kind of figure out, okay, nothing is going to be perfect, right? Like, there's no house that you just sent an empty report and say,
not even new construction.
Yeah. Say, okay, this is great. You don't have to do anything with it. And I know we're going to talk a lot about buyers, but before we kind of get into their side of it, is there anything you feel a seller could do or should do prior to even listing their homes? Not necessarily, obviously, then in front of the inspection, but to just kind of negate some of these. I mean, the less issues, so to speak, the better for them. But is there anything in your mind that people tend to overlook a lot, or maybe it just gets kind of thrown on the back burner of home maintenance?
Right. Well, first off, I think the seller needs to be very, very transparent.
Right. No hiding.
Because that's when people get very upset, is when they feel like the seller's starting to hide something, and then they distrust the whole process.
Yeah,
it can make,
terminates
to me,
most of the time.
I was going to say, every time I feel the buyers say, I think the seller's hiding this, it falls apart because they just totally lose faith or trust in the sellers being. So first is be very transparent. That is probably the most important thing they can do. Yeah. I don't think they really have to prepare for it. If they could get the clutter out.
So you can actually do your job?
Yeah, no, that is, when they have things stacked up against the walls up to like 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you see this foundation? I had one house down in Greene County that I literally canceled because I couldn't even reach the electrical panel. So much stuff. So, maybe getting things out of the way to where it can be evaluated, that probably would be a very, very beneficial preparation.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's really valid. I know a lot of people too lately I've been seeing this a lot more, I should say, is doing pre-inspections. So like having your home inspected.
There's a lot of benefit.
And then essentially providing that report.
Yeah.
And kind of saying, at least from the agent perspective, this is the condition of the home, right? Like, we have this report. You're welcome to do an inspection, but like, if it's being disclosed, so to speak, the typical sentiment is like, structure your offer around those issues.
Right.
Is that something you're seeing more and more, is having sellers kind of come to you? And is it maybe with older homes or just kind of across the board?
That's a really good question. And I'm so glad we're talking about this, because I think there's a tremendous amount of benefit to the seller to perform a pre-inspection. One of which is no one understands all the electrical codes and
Right.
the
Most
today's
people aren't
building
electricians.
standards. Right. And the other thing is we all get to where we begin to live with a nuisance in our home, and it almost becomes like, well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so what it does for the seller, because like you even said, this is a very anxious process.
Mhm.
From the time you sign the agreement until the time you get the inspection completed, like right now I'm running 10 to 12 days out, right? So
Yeah.
that is 10 to 12 days that both the seller and the buyer are all up in
We're
nuts.
just sitting there
They're
waiting.
very anxious and like, man, goodness,
Yeah.
what's this home inspector going to do? So one, it helps shorten that time period tremendously. Two, it gives the seller the ability to say, you know what, I'll repair this. I'm going to repair that, but I'm not going to repair this. I'm going to put it on the seller
Right.
disclosure. You're aware of it. I'm telling you about it. Here's the inspection. Don't ask me about
Yeah.
it. So I think it helps both the buyer and the seller to fully understand, because even at that exploration process of the
Mhm.
buyer, he's going to understand what's going on with the house fully.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think, you tell me, I think a lot of times if they're exploring the house and about ready to make an offer, they have access to that inspection.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think from a seller's perspective, I honestly have not encouraged sellers on a lot of my listings to do this, but I think it's something going forward. I always mention it, but I think I might emphasize the importance a little bit more, because what I've been finding is it kind of reduces the anxiety for the seller too, right? Because like as much as
Mhm.
the buyer, yes, wants to know what's wrong with the house and they're anxious
Right.
about it, the seller at this point, this is their only hurdle to completing the transaction is
Right.
this negotiation. The rest is up to the buyer as far as their financing, securing,
Right.
all of that. But if their house can't be negotiated through inspections and they're going to terminate, then they're back to square one. So
Finding
for
a
me,
buyer.
right, it's like, why not just say, okay, we don't know how old the roof is, for example. A lot
Right.
of people don't. Have you come in, you say, look, it's at the end of its life.
Right.
It's not leaking, but it's at the end of its life. So instead of that then being a negotiation back and forth, maybe the buyer doesn't like that answer, they ask for something crazy, you can just say, look, we priced it this way with
Right.
this, $20,000 in mind of, in the next 5 years. It's a different tactic. And I think it's a different tactic too, because the market is changing. Coming out of COVID, where everybody was waiving inspections,
Right.
it wasn't a thing. There was multiple offers. So like everyone now, I think, would love to get multiple offers on their home, which we all
Right.
would, but that's not necessarily happening regardless of inspection or not. And so having that inspection just kind of gives you a more realistic idea of where you're going to end from a
Right.
pricing perspective. So it's kind of at the seller's discretion. Do you want to be a little bit more zealous with this and see if we
Yeah.
can get multiples? And obviously we'll do all the marketing and everything on the agent side that we can. But I would say for the seller, I think it's almost like soothing knowing that. And then the buyers, yes, they have access to this information plus the seller's disclosure. So, I mean, theoretically, they have all the tools they need from
To
the
make a wise
beginning.
decision.
Yeah, yeah. And in Pittsburgh, all of these homes are older. Like, I mean, I joke that like every time I see a house in the 80s, it's like brand new because I mean, or
Well,
on
yeah.
90s, I can't even find the 90s homes. I,
get- I
don't know
get
where
it.
those were. We
Yeah.
went from 80s to new builds in the
Yeah.
last 5-10 years. So,
I get excited to inspect houses from the 50s and 60s because I know they're going to have oak floors and marble lintels, and I get
asbestos.
that. Well, maybe not, maybe not. But even then, even there, right? Asbestos. You say the word asbestos, mold, those type of things, people freak out.
There's panic.
Yeah.
Immediate. How do we get rid of it? It's
And
like,
the reality is, it's all able to be addressed.
mhm.
And it's just, you just have to determine, are you willing to implement the solutions, or is the seller going to implement the solutions, or how are you going to come to some type of common ground with those solutions?
Yeah.
So But anyway, I want to kind of go back to what
Yeah.
you were just talking about, because there's another very, very valuable aspect to the seller getting a pre-listing inspection. You mentioned it, that sometimes the buyers, okay, the roof needs to be replaced. I want $25,000 for the roof to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where did you get that number? Well, Jimmy down the street, he's done a few roofs, and he says he wants me to, pay
Yeah.
$25,000. And so where with the seller, he has an opportunity to get like three,
Quotes.
contractors out,
Yeah.
get some quotes,
Yep.
get some true knowledgeable information. And on top of it, he's got a better timeline.
Yeah. We're
Where
not in
when
this
you're-
10-day crunch.
And we know that contractors, all of them are doing it. I mean, I got a lot of friends who are contractors. If you push your emergency button with them, say, I've got to have it done in a week, FHA, can't close until it gets done.
Right.
Put panic button. Well, that's fine. That's happy to do it. That's going to cost you double.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's going to be double, because I'm going to stop the project I'm working on. I'm going to go explain to the people that I
Yeah.
got to pause. I'm going to be back in 2 weeks.
Got to get extra help in.
And there's a cost to that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it really is. And I think being prepared is always the most, it's going to be the most lucrative for the buyer or the seller. So I do think
Yeah.
being prepared and knowing your home is super important. I always ask my sellers, when's the last time you had your AC service? Like, 'cause I'll be honest, I don't know when the last time I had an HVAC guy look at my house, and I've lived there for 6
Easy.
years.
Don't be telling me that.
Sorry.
Annual.
We changed
Annual,
the
2 times.
filter.
Well, that's good.
So that we have that going for us.
But I'm telling you, spring AC, fall furnace, it's the best $300, $400 you'll spend in a year.
What do they do? I don't even know what they do.
Well,
Clean?
no, that's a good point too.
Look at it?
A good HVAC guy is going to come in. He's going to look at your your
Yeah.
electronic board.
Yeah.
He's going to make sure there's nothing going on with the sensors. He's going to maybe do some lubrication. He's going to clean it. He's going to overall look at the
And
entire
does that
aspect.
really keep your mechanical item longer?
Mine was from 1995. It was running fantastic.
Wow.
But we just got to the point where we were like, and one of these days it's going to be February. It's going to be 2 a.m. My furnace is going to go out.
Yeah.
And my wife's going to look at me and say, what did you just do to us? So, there's always that threshold. How far do you push it?
Yeah.
But yes, I think a good HVAC representative makes a tremendous difference.
Okay, I'll have to add that to my to-do list now.
It should be.
So then we kind of covered the sale side. For buyers, is there any time you think it's appropriate to waive inspections? And you can be honest.
I tell you, so,
can say
come on,
no.
I'm biased, right? I'm biased.
Right. But that's why we want to hear why. Like what, aside
So,
from the house falling apart.
I've literally have had conversations with individuals. I remember this one guy in particular. One, he was a general contractor, so he had a lot of knowledge. 2, he was buying a home that was only a few years old.
Mm-hmm.
He basically knew that there was no major surprises.
Right.
I'm just going to basically be pointing out the nuisances for you,
Mhm. Yeah.
GFCI here, whatever. I mean, those are minimal in costs, and why worry about it?
Yeah.
And he was afraid, because he didn't want to waive the inspection, but he was afraid if he didn't waive the inspection, he was going to lose the deal.
Yeah. Which
Now,
is part of-
That's a unique situation.
it comes up though. I mean, I've
does,
had to waive inspections.
But I
to
think
win.
overall, you're playing a very tremendous game of Jeopardy.
Yes.
Because unless, like I said, he had the skill sets, he had the knowledge, I think overall, you might save yourself. I mean, do the inspection for informational purposes only.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You still have the ability to get out of the deal if there's something major.
Yeah.
You don't want to walk into a home that you just put a lot of money to get down into and, close on,
Mm-hmm.
and then find out that your lateral line's got a 3-inch gap.
Yeah.
and you got to jackhammer your basement up and
Yeah.
have a plumber totally replace it.
Which our plumber expertise couldn't make it today, Jonathan, but
He's a coward.
he's a
He's a coward.
He's a coward.
just
You hear that, Jonathan?
the Italian stallion's a coward.
But I always say that is one thing where I have seen newer homes have big sewer problems and older homes have none, and that's something you can't see. I always say, at a minimum, we'll waive inspections, but we're not waiving a sewer.
Don't ever
scope.
waive the lateral scope. I don't care if it's a brand new home.
Yeah.
It can be new construction, and you don't know if heavy equipment ran over your line by accident. You don't know if maybe soil erosion took place and separated your pipe.
Or even I just had a house, it was like completely renovated. It wasn't new, but it was. Yeah. And I guess everybody in the construction team decided just to rinse all their tools in the sink in the basement.
Yep.
So when Jonathan went to sewer scope it, he couldn't even get it in a foot.
Right.
He had so they had to hydrojet it. Now, obviously, there wasn't any, thank God, knock on wood, any issues with the line itself. Right. But he couldn't even see. And so if your sewer line's already backed up, and you just add to that, that will be a problem at some point. So,
I have literally been in this business long enough to know that, I'll have sellers say, well, we've lived here for 40 years and we've never had an issue. Well, little old lady, widowed, living by herself, has a terracotta line, takes a shower, flushes the toilet, runs the kitchen sink, doesn't create a big demand. All of a sudden the house sells. You got 5 people moving in.
Right, like a big family or
kids. Husband, wife, 3 kids. And all of a sudden they're taking a lot more showers. They're flushing the toilet a lot more often. And the toilet paper is making a dam.
That's right. There's a lot more crap going in those sewers.
And then they come down in the morning and they're like, why is our basement full? I know the seller knew about this.
No.
Really?
You don't,
very possibly did not.
Yeah.
Because the water can build up that line. It can build up to that line for 8 to 10 feet. And then it just kind of trickles through all the tree roots and the toilet paper. And so the little old lady, she didn't know. She took a shower in the morning, ate a little, made a little meal in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Did a little laundry.
Not a big
it didn't create
consumption.
That.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there anything else that you think is kind of those sneaky items that maybe aren't visible during their walkthrough that you feel like you see kind of often?
Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foundations, typically the most part that we're concerned about is hydrostatic pressure, okay? Water, soil pressure on the foundation and develops horizontal cracks. When you see horizontal cracks, the challenge for an inspector is to determine, 1, how much displacement has taken place, and 2, has it been here for a long period of time?
Okay.
Because I will have sellers say, you know what, it's been that way. I bought the house and the horizontal crack was there.
Yeah, and it hasn't moved. And
it hasn't moved.
Yeah.
And that's probably because a lot of times a settlement for a home and foundation is going to take place that first 5 to 10 years. So the thing is it structural concern? Is it not? Because, I'm not trying to be negative, but if you call a wall anchor company and they're going to have a solution for you.
Right. Well, that was my next question.
They're going to have a solution for you.
Are wall anchors that solution? Do you feel like is it bad when you see them in a home? Should the buyer be worrisome?
No. There's, in fact, actually, if I saw carbon fiber straps or wall anchors or steel I-beams, those are the primary solutions. Carbon fiber straps are great for about 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
Wall anchors are going to be basically at 3/4 inch to maybe 2 inches. And then steel I-beams are going to be for the more significant displacement. But if you see those, most of the companies that we have in Western PA, they will back their work up for lifetime. So think about it.
Well, if they're not touched, I learned that the hard way.
If they're not.
So I personally went under contract in a home and it had 8 wall anchors.
Yes.
They didn't like how they looked. So they poured concrete over them.
Okay. Well,
Warranty voided.
Yeah, well, and
Just as an FYI,
okay,
you
yeah,
have to
but-
live with them
well,
the way
you
they
do.
look.
well, so you do, but you can put a wall in front of it and have access panels.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
I've
just
seen
pour
people.
concrete cylinders over top
Of course
that.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Talk about not, they weren't disclosed either. They just hope we didn't think about it. Didn't ask what these 8 pillars were.
wow.
So yeah, I terminated
Well, good.
because
I'm glad to hear that.
Because like going back, like to me, honesty is everything. Trust is everything. So
Well,
but-
it is. See, once again, you talk about when the sellers are deceitful, even in the little things,
yeah,
it causes people to have concern about, are they being truthful about the big things?
exactly.
If they're going to lie to me about the little
Exactly.
things, then what are they
And
hiding?
we can negotiate anything, big or small. It's like, I think people feel like they need to have this like clean bill of health almost on their home. And it's like, that doesn't exist.
That doesn't
It
even
doesn't
exist.
exist.
No.
How do you feel like, do you ever get buyers? A lot of times I say first time home buyers, but I've had a lot of repeat buyers too. Kind of, they see the report, it's color coded. If it's red and there's a bunch of red on the paper, it's immediately like panic, you know? And we always try to preface it with like, look, this is not going to be a short little review. This is going to be a very long, thick packet of information, a lot of photos, videos. It's going to look like the house is falling over, but it's not. Is there any way you feel like people can kind of prepare themselves for looking at that?
Well,
to digest it with less panic?
yes.
I guess.
You know, if I get this question right, I'm probably going to be a millionaire, because this is the challenge that everyone has. It's just like, I have an introduction with the buyers.
Mhm.
I go over all my definitions and I tell them, just because it's in red doesn't mean it's significant. It could be a missing GFCI or a smoke detector.
Right.
It has the safety implication. That's what it represents. Safety.
Yeah.
But that can be very, very simple. I think sometimes people don't focus on what I'm saying. The next is, recommendations. That's in blue. It's a material defect. It can be very simple and it can still be significant.
Yeah.
So the thing is stress with them. Take your time, read the report.
Yeah.
I put the main items on a summary page so you can go through it with your agent easily.
Yeah.
But
not have
read
to
the
pull that
report.
all out.
Read
Right.
the report.
Right.
Read
the
what
whole
I'm stating.
report.
Yeah, just read everything
Yeah.
before you push that red button.
I think too, like I always go through, the report with my clients, but like it's okay for them to call you too if they're not sure about something, right? I mean, I
tell
always
them
say,
every time I'm leaving them, I've said, because I know you don't have the report yet.
Mhm.
Once you go through the report, you have questions, give me a call.
Yeah.
Don't call me at 2 a.m.
Right.
But give me a call.
Yeah.
And let's talk about it. Because the goal of a home inspector should be to help both the seller and the buyer become extremely, or not maybe extremely, informed and aware
Yeah.
and knowledgeable of that property.
Right. It's information. And I think that's a really good point, because it doesn't mean the seller has to fix all of these things.
Nope.
An inspection is to inform the buyer of the current status of the home. Now,
Yes.
of course, if there's large material defects that are costly, we on the agent side will need to negotiate that.
Yes.
But that does not mean that those are required items to be fixed.
They're-
The seller can say, no, thank you, ma'am, and
Right.
move on. Now, they don't usually want to do that because they don't want to terminate. But I say this because, you mentioned like GFCI outlets earlier. I had a first-time home buyer say, well, it says it could be a fire. And I have to explain, yes, it could be, but your oven could also catch on fire. Like these are just almost
Right.
nominal things that are put in there because you have to disclose them.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that that's happening. And had they maybe given you a call or asked these questions, like, I think you and I can only advocate so much. I think
Right.
that the buyer and sellers do have to feel a little bit more confident in picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, Steve, like,
Right.
is this really a problem? Like, what is, what's your suggestion of how we would maybe even contact a contractor to repair it,
Right.
or do you feel like this is, we should focus on this other thing?"
Right.
So I do emphasize that, but to your point, it's like sometimes it falls on deaf ears. I think it can be a struggle.
You touched on a lot of positive things right there that were really critical. One of which is the inspection really is a tool for communication. That's
Yeah.
it. It's not really designed to be for negotiations. It gets there,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
gets there. But the reality is it is a tool to help the buyer become very knowledgeable and aware
Mhm.
of everything in the house. So once the agreement's all finalized and he moves in, they're not calling the seller 3 months from now.
Yeah.
Okay. The other aspect is it helps the seller. One of the things I say all the time, I'll take a ton of photos of the roof because a lot of times the sellers are not even aware of their own shingle condition.
Oh, yeah. I would say 9 out of 10.
Right. So it even helps the seller have more knowledge and awareness of their condition of their own home. And in hopes that that instrument of the report will create a conversation and a common ground to where everyone can move forward.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the tool.
Right. If only everyone could just understand that, and then we wouldn't have such contentious in 10-day periods.
And so that's the big surprise I had when I got into this business is that all of a sudden I always thought I was going to be the guy who came in and saved the day, be the helper.
Right. Right.
I'm going to help you be very aware and knowledgeable and familiar. I even say familiar. I never say comfortable.
Yeah.
I never say comfortable, but I say familiar with the acquisition. And then you get into the industry and you realize you're the bad guy.
Sorry, Steve.
You're the
but
bad
you
guy.
Are. You
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. The seller agent doesn't like you because you're going to come in and maybe cause your seller to, maybe give up some things. The buyer agent doesn't like you because the buyer may get cold feet and run.
Yeah.
And they're like, here we go, starting the process over again. And it's an unfortunate position to be in. It is not really way I think standard practice should have ever been because, like you said earlier, there is solutions for everything. And it's really the home inspector's responsibility and charge to not inflate it.
Yeah.
Make the observation.
Right.
Make the observation, discuss the defect, talk about the remedies, and that is our standard practice. Identify the defect, what is the ramifications, and what is the remedy. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. I do. You are very solution oriented though, and I have worked with inspectors that are not, and it'll be like, the roof is caving in, consult a contractor.
Yeah.
And there's like no other information like, okay, is it a shingle that's causing this leak? Is it termites? Is there a hole?
Is there a tree laying across the
what,
roof?
Yeah, like what is happening? And I think when people, I always recommend you because of the thoroughness of your reports.
Yes.
And then people will be like, well, my aunt used Johnny Inspector. And you're like, here we go. You have a sample report on your website, I believe, right?
I do.
Which no one else that I've seen, maybe they do, but I haven't found anybody else. I think that's really a smart idea to give people an idea of like what you're paying for, honestly.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, because they may not like my style.
Right.
So the whole principle is that you're contracting me to help you become very familiar with your home. So if I'm not writing a report that is, you feel that is user friendly, then by all means, use another home inspector.
I've never gotten any negative reports for feedback on your reports, I should say.
I'm glad we're recording this.
Yeah, I haven't. If
But,
anything, I've gotten like, wow, this is much more in depth, or this was really informative. And, it's really hard to then negotiate with an inspection that's not like yours because there's so much gray area. Like some things are gray. I get that in your report.
Yeah.
Or not in your report, inspections, period. But other things are like fairly night and day. But if you just throw in there, but it should be confirmed by, licensed contractor at the end, it's like, well, there goes that.
What contractor?
Right. Like
And
who?
what aspect?
Are there
And-
termites or are there not? Like,
Right.
this is what I need to know.
Right. What is the defect?
Yeah.
What is the ramification? And what is the remedy? And
Right.
that is our standard of practice
Like as inspectors as
as
a whole.
inspectors nationally.
Well, I think someone might have missed the chapter of that.
Well, again,
because-
let's go back to state of Pennsylvania. Does not require a license. I
which
just
that
I
is
can't.
insane.
I
That is
can't-
actually
They
incredible.
just require you to be in good affiliation with a national organization. So basically, what they did is they just shoved the responsibility onto ASHI or
Yeah.
INTERNACHI, and both the organizations are good,
Yeah.
but both of them are not going to police you.
Wow. You could go. It's like the Wild
Well,
Wild West.
once you
Yeah.
meet the CEUs and you're out there performing, and there's no one outside of the initial reports that they review to determine if you meet the qualifications to be in good standing.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot of continued check-ins.
Which I just, yes, that's really kind of wild. But I also think then it's even more so on either the seller or buyer, whoever's hiring, to do their due diligence,
Yes.
to look up reviews, to
There you go.
listen to your agents
Yes.
on who they recommend. And I think you're a great guy. I'd love, we can hang out all the time, go golf, whatever. But I recommend you because you're good for my clients.
Right.
Like you're not just a pal, So much of this business is referral based, but it's referral based on personal relationships versus actual
Right.
work. And I think things like looking at their websites, do they have a sample report? Can they send you a sample report if they don't have one available online?
What is their qualifications?
What's your qualifications? Yeah.
I think that
you used
start
to be
there.
an electrician, right? I believe.
No, that's
Or
Tyler.
no, that's Tyler.
Tyler's,
So Tyler's on Steve's team.
and he was an
And he was
electrician
an
in
electrician
California.
in California for many years. You were a contractor for many years.
I did a lot of that when I was younger, but
Yeah.
again, once I got older, I got into a different industry and
Yeah.
did that for 32 years. I am an old guy. But all that being said, it really comes down to what is the qualifications.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, some of these guys think, I use a general contractor for 20 years. I'll make a great home inspector.
Yeah. But it's not quite the same.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Are you doing the education? Are you doing the requirement backgrounds? Are you doing everything you need to do to be the most informed inspector you can be?
Mhm.
So when you go in, you can perform a educated inspection.
Yeah. Yeah.
To your point, I think you talk to people, you look at the reviews. Everyone's going to have a bad review.
That's true.
But reviews are a fantastic governor. They really are.
Yeah.
I think they're a fantastic governor to general contractors, electricians, HVAC,
Mhm.
real estate agents.
Yeah.
Every industry, because you work hard not to get a bad review.
Right.
So
Although there is always the Karen.
you're
and I encourage
it amazes
if you click
me.
the bad views and you can click the person and you
Yeah.
can see their other reviews. 9 times out of 10, all they have are like 1-star reviews on places. You ever
Oh.
notice that? Like it's like the only thing
Yeah.
they don't review positive. They only focus on the negative. It's like it's a shame. But anyways,
My daughter, she's a great sleuth. I mean, you give her a name, she'll figure out everything about this person. And we had this one client that she just, I tried to work with her. I tried to explain how to implement some solutions. would not hear me, just wanted money, just wanted money.
Yeah.
And my daughter found out that she literally gave her granddaughter's gymnastics teacher a terrible review.
Like,
And she's still in this gymnastics. I mean, talk about killing your
Yeah.
granddaughter's ability to, you know.
yeah, it's just some people you can't make happy, but I do think
Yeah.
reviews and professional recommendations are important. And
Yes.
I'm not saying your friends and family, they don't necessarily have good reviews, but sometimes I notice it'll be like, well, that family friend, it's their friend. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, we're here to build the business and do a thorough job. And just make sure you interview these people
Right.
before you actually hire them. I really want to empower anybody like watching or my clients that we talked about it last week with Tori, like interview your agent, ask them questions,
Yes.
figure out what their background is. If they won't take a 5-minute phone call to help really introduce themselves to you, then they probably aren't the best fit for you. Like, honestly.
Because this is
you know
someone
what
you're
I
going to be
mean?
working with, right?
On the biggest purchase of your life, potentially.
Yeah.
I mean,
outside of buying a
unless you're
business,
buying
maybe.
a business
I can't imagine.
or a boat.
Well,
the
even
two
a boat.
Bs.
Yeah, I mean, a
A
boat's not
yacht.
going to. Yeah, maybe a yacht, because
You
a boat's
know?
not going to be as and you're going to live there.
You're going to live
You're not
there.
going to live on
right,
the boat.
Right.
You're not going to live in the car.
It's going to potentially cost you more money or save you
Yeah.
money. I mean, it could go either way. So I think you need to find people that you can work with that are as invested in you as you are
Yes.
financially investing in them. And I think making sure that you feel not sheepish or shy to ask these questions because
Right.
you're the customer. Like when we say,
Yes.
ask us anything, call us if you have questions, that's not just fluff. That's
You're serious.
we're very serious. And
Yes.
I wish people would take more time to do that because I do get a lot of calls after close and it'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, this doesn't work. It's going to cost me more than the credit I got. And it's
Right.
like, well, we kind of went over that and it's a little bit too late. And now I can't help you. Had we
Right.
had talked about this with the inspector a month ago, we could have. So
Right.
it's a short time period. It is a crunch time, but it is a very impactful time
Right.
in the transaction. So I think having great partners,
You
it
know,
makes or breaks it.
you really bring up a tremendous aspect here. That it's one of the reasons I like to work with your team.
Yeah.
Is that I can tell from everyone on your team, you really do care about the client.
We care so much,
Yeah.
sometimes too much. That's something I'm working on is boundaries
You
because
can.
you can give and give and give, you know.
Right.
But yeah, we do, and that's why we like. Again, this is not a sponsored ad. Like
Right.
we work. I bring people in that I trust. I would trust with my own home or my own
Right.
purchase or my own family, whatever. Like if I refer someone, it's because I've used them and I've
Right.
used them enough to know this is the best solution I have for you.
And that's the other aspect that you mentioned. I think it is really key is that home inspectors really should, in essence, even though we're not directly affiliated or on the team, it should be like a team mentality.
I mean, you want to join our team? I feel like I can make that happen.
I don't know if I'd be very good at sales.
No, you'll just be like the Angelini team inspector.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Yeah.
Um,
if I could pick a team, it'd be you, Jonathan. I have a fantastic title officer, a stalwart. Fantastic. And it's like people, again, I don't expect everybody to know this. You buy a house, well, maybe 1 or 2 times in your entire life. And we're doing this every week.
Right.
You know? But it is, just trust me then when I say that these, like your inspections, your title officers, they really, really change the trajectory of how this transition is going to go for you.
Yeah.
Like it's either going to be smooth and you're not going to have mental breakdowns during
Right.
it and cry or be really frustrated, or you could just have it be a lot smoother and a lot
Yes.
safer and feel comfortable and confident that this is the best decision.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of it falls back on the agent a lot of the time,
Right.
but we're just one small cog in the wheel. You know,
Mhm.
we help facilitate all of this, but like
Yeah.
I can't do the home inspection. No. I can't help.
You don't want to.
I don't want to.
Because that
I
shifts a lot of
definitely don't want
liability.
to.
It shifts a lot of liability onto.
And I don't know. Every time I go to one of your inspections, I learn something new.
That's good.
I do.
I'm glad to hear that.
I do because, I lived in an apartment for 13 years.
Right.
In New York City, I was calling my super to change my light bulbs.
Right.
So this was not like, I'm a huge sales background like you, but not a technical person, right? So buying my own home was an eye opener, and then coming into this and working with inspectors, I learned so much. A lot of agents don't actually want to go to the inspections.
I think that's a mistake.
I do too. I get it. There's a liability if we go.
But where's the liability?
So
I think
I think it's almost like being a witness to a crime. If there's something that goes down,
totally
you could
disagree.
get kind of called in.
Yeah, I totally disagree.
But for me, it's hard for me to walk them through if I can't go and say,
that's
but Steve said, but I think that's where the liability line starts to get blurry, because then you're not necessarily passing hearsay, but
no, I'm making observations.
I'm a witness to whatever is said, and then
you probably remember this when you were in kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
You'd start a story on one end of the table, and by the time it got to the end of the other table, was the story the same?
Lane. That's right.
Was it?
No, it never is.
Never is.
But I think that's why people want to remove agents. That people want to remove themselves.
See, that's
because
totally
they don't want to be the middle phone.
But that's the total mistake, because. Now, if the agent comes and says, don't worry about that, don't worry about that, oh, don't listen to your home inspector, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But let me promise you that if you're not there and the buyer's sitting there listening, they're going to be like that kindergarten table. By the time it gets to the agent's ear, he said, what?
Yeah.
Even if it's well written, there's communication void. So
I do agree with that.
I always feel like come, observe, kind of, use your discernment, see how your buyer's doing, see how your seller's doing or whatever. And just be a part of the process. Don't join in the process.
Yeah, just spectate.
Well, Steve don't know what he's talking about with that breaker. Well, you're not going to help yourself.
Yeah.
But you're certainly going to help yourself if you're hearing everything, understanding everything, because you as a real estate agent probably understand the situation better than the buyer does.
Yes. I would say that. I do think, at least for myself, I like to go because I do read your entire report, but I do think it's just easier to review the top items when we're all three of us, me, you, the buyer, are all in the home. We're looking at it. Yeah. Sometimes I'll take my phone out. I'll take pictures so I can kind of remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I see the agent side. I see the liability side. I also feel sometimes then the buyer kind of relies on the agent to almost make the decision on
that's where you got to be careful.
And that's where I don't like being put in that position necessarily. Right. But I personally kind of have no problem saying, you got to figure that out. I'm not going to sit there and say, I want this, and this fixed for you. Obviously, if there's a glaring, the sewer's backed up and it can't be used and it's black flowing into the lawn.
If they don't pick that, you better just run from the hills.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I think 9 times out of 10, it's kind of obvious when we leave the inspection, these are the things we're going to have to figure out.
Well, that right there is another reason to be there, because a lot of times these buyers are walking out of there with already the 1, 2, 3 in their mind.
Yeah.
And
sometimes it's like the number one item is a non-issue, and we need to talk through that more.
Your number one pick is a GFCI in the bathroom when you have a drain stack that's rusted out.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get electrocuted.
But it's a fire hazard.
Right.
I have actually had that. People see fire and it's which I get, fire is scary. I don't want anybody to have a fire, but
Yeah.
Unless you're pouring water on your outlets and sticking metal in there, you should be okay.
Well, yeah, it's
For the most part.
I grew up
mean,
without GFCIs, and I still walk upright. Might be a little touched in the head, but I still walk upright. It's just,
Yeah.
I think, the words like you said earlier, asbestos, mold, water intrusion.
Yeah.
Okay, usually. One of the reasons my inspections typically take 2.5 hours. I mean, I hear inspectors doing it in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No.
how?
Yep.
How do you run the HVAC? How do you run the
They don't.
AC? How do you open up the electrical panel? How do you operate all the water and know that there's not leaks?
I will say most people, as far because you always run the appliances.
I run all the
Most
appliances.
people don't. I have seen inspectors not running like dishwashers and stuff.
Wasn't that going to be a bummer? You
Buy
buy a house with a dishwasher and you go in and put the dishes in there and it doesn't run? I'd be a little upset.
I know. And then I think it's interesting because I almost feel like all I see then is like, have a licensed contractor come in and inspect these items. And it's like, I thought
then
you
why
were
did I
licensed.
pay you for?
Right, right. And then the other thing too is getting into a little bit of the nitty gritty. So water is a big issue here in Pittsburgh.
Huge.
Like
we're second to like Seattle. Some people say we're number one. I don't know.
Really?
But I tell you what, we're top 5 in rainfall.
Right. And so moist or wet basements is what? 90% of the
That's why we have a tremendous wall anchor industry and waterproof industry.
So it's not necessarily something that I think water intrusion is probably one of the top 5 items that people kind of like really get very upset.
I don't want water in my house.
I don't want water in my house either. But having water one time and then having it remedied.
That's an important distinction.
Yeah.
I can't remember when it was. I want to say 2019. I may be getting that wrong. Tremendous amount of rainfall. And literally people who had never had water in their basement had water in their basement.
Right.
Water's going to win.
Water does win.
Water's going to win. But what form of water? I mean, are we talking about the downspouts? I mean, it's so common for me to find downspouts that still are just discharging right beside the foundation. And I think to myself, wow, that's a really easy remedy. Why don't you do that?
Like a $10 garner.
You're sitting there
from Home
complaining
Depot.
that you got moisture in your back corner of your basement, but your downspouts discharging your entire roof volume right there.
Right. But that's where, too, I think it's important to, again, get to know your inspector before you hire them, because you use an actual moisture meter, not a thermo.
I have thermo too.
Well, you do, but
I have thermal imaging. I have moisture meters.
But thermo doesn't necessarily confirm water.
You know what? So that you're touching into a very important subject. That thermal imaging, you might be able to see some great oohs and ahs, but you better have an explanation behind it.
Right.
You better understand what you're looking at. And again, you're looking through a wall. So you may not be able to tell that.
No, yeah.
Right?
And I've had that. I had the deal almost completely fall apart because the thermometer said there was water. Well, it ended up being like a steel beam. It was cold.
Right.
There was no water.
Yes.
And it was just a weird paint line like on the ceiling. So
there's a responsibility of home inspectors to understand how to use their tools and how to interpret the information that they're being given.
Yeah. Because without the right tools, you're not really making the right assumptions.
Yeah.
And then when we make the wrong assumptions, that's when we start getting into this back and forth. And it's just, it seems like such a nominal technical situation, but it does. And I think water is one of the big things that people are always afraid of.
They are.
And I get it. I mean, I don't want to flood, but like if there's mold growing in the back of an unfinished basement because it's damp.
That scares people too. But mold is so easily mitigated. It's almost ridiculous. I mean, you got some fantastic companies in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Bactronics is one of them.
Yeah.
And it's like if you turn your back on water and you put it in a dark area, it's going to develop mold.
Right.
Okay.
But is that worth terminating a perfectly good home over?
I wouldn't.
No,
I would just get
wouldn't
a
either.
company out there to treat it. If it's surface mold, I'd probably use distilled white vinegar to clean it. I would.
Yeah.
There's so many solutions to mold.
Yeah.
It's just like when people's like, "Well, there's a little mold." I'm like, "Okay, well, I bet you have mold in your house now because it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's part of our life."
It is.
Yep.
What about asbestos?
So
What do you say for that one?
you can eat it. No, I'm just teasing. You can't breathe it. You can't breathe it.
You can eat it. You just don't breathe it. Yeah.
Yeah. I had an old contractor say, you can eat it, but you just can't breathe it. I'm like, well, I'm not sure I'd do that. But the whole point is asbestos, you got to look at what's the form.
Okay.
So we have asbestos siding.
Yeah.
We have asbestos towel. We have asbestos wrap. We have vermiculite that has asbestos in it in the insulation.
Okay.
Vermiculite's in the insulation.
Okay.
And so asbestos actually is a fantastic product until it becomes airborne. And then it becomes very hazardous. So
I see it a lot in tiles, especially I'm in the South Hills a lot.
Yeah.
And
9-inch by 9-inch tiles.
That was just like
You can't even buy a 9-inch by 9-inch tile anymore because it creates so much of a concern.
Deduct that we think that it's asbestos because it's very hard to test, from what I understand.
No.
No?
I mean, I take samples, run it up to the lab up in Warrendale, and they'll have results in about a week.
But when you take the sample, isn't that when it can become airborne? How does that work?
Well, I'm probably
Are you breathing in asbestos?
I probably sucked down a little bit of asbestos over the years.
Gosh.
Well, I mean, you handle it properly, and you there is processes and standards the way you're supposed to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I run across vermiculite, I tell people get it tested.
Yeah.
Just know if the towel is in great shape and is not broken up. The state of Pennsylvania, DEP basically says, conceal it, protect it to where it cannot become airborne.
Right. Like I know a lot of people end up just tiling over it for that reason.
They can put a vapor barrier over it. Yeah, put a vapor barrier. Don't cut it out.
Right, because that will really become more airborne.
As soon as you start chipping it away, guess what you're doing? You're making it airborne.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole process. And there is asbestos mitigation companies that will provide you good information because it is considered a hazardous material. It can be pretty expensive if you're going to start eradicating it all out of your house. So you got to make that determination. Can I protect myself from asbestos being airborne, or do I need to get it mitigated?
Right.
And so that is the big distinction. A lot of times, I'm not going to say all the time, you can protect yourself.
Yeah. Let's do, to wrap it up, a quick rapid fire session.
Okay.
I'm going to test you.
I'm going to try.
Okay. The first, what's your biggest inspection myth?
Myth.
Or myth busting?
That the home inspection is a pass-fail.
Okay.
So
That's
many
a good one. That's
so
a
many
really good
buyers
one.
come in and they're like, "Can I buy this house?" Well, that's your decision.
Right. Like,
that literally. So
I
some
think we
people
all just need the version of Steve that's our dad.
Yeah.
I think we need you to
I'm the dad.
You're the resident
age
dad.
of dad. I could probably be dad for a lot of people. But the thing is, some people feel like the inspection is required. It's not.
No, it's not.
It's
in
a
the state
volunteer.
of Pennsylvania, you do not have to do anything.
You do not. It's a volunteer process. Lenders sometimes will require a pest inspection.
Sometimes, yeah.
But especially FHA, VA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the inspection process is not mandatory. It is for information purposes, very valuable information, but it's not a pass-fail.
No, that's definitely very, very true. What is the most overlooked home system?
I would say the roof.
The roof.
I think because, one, There's a number of, I'm a little buffaloed by this. There's a number of home inspectors who still evaluate a roof from the ground.
A lot of them do.
Where you got drones, I get on ladders, I get on the roof a lot. Obviously, tile, slate, metal roofs, not supposed to be up there. Even though I'm a very petite guy, I could possibly break a tile. But the whole point is you got drones.
Yeah.
All you got to do is get your license for it.
To me, when someone comes back and the inspector's like, could not see the roof from the ground, I almost want to be like, I hope you ask for a refund.
Yeah.
Because that's the
Yeah.
biggest, to me, that's my always like one of the top 10.
Yeah.
Like, how old's the roof? We don't know. We need to look at that.
Well, I had a client who was like, Steve, I got to know about the roof. I got to know about the roof. And there was 4 inches of snow on the roof. So I brought my heat gun. I literally shoveled the snow off the roof, and I used my heat gun to melt down the ice. And
That's dedication.
And he was
Steve.
right. He was right. The
Dedication.
roof was shot.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
Can't you see like from the attic too if there's leaking?
Leaking? Yes. Condition of the shingles? No.
Okay. Yeah. So how about new construction homes? Inspect or skip?
Well, again, I'm biased, but I really do believe you still inspect. Always keep in mind, if it's a good project manager, his goal is to get you through the process, get you to closing, you move into your house, and you're not calling him with the multiple issues. And an inspector, a good inspector, is coming alongside the project manager with that common goal.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help you get to closing to where when they move into their brand new home, they're not calling you about there's a nick on this cabinet here.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so I think there's a lot of value to it. I do.
Yeah.
I do a lot of new construction. I do a phase, typically a 2-phase. The primary phase is before drywall and insulation.
Okay.
It allows me to see proper flashing around the windows. It allows me to look at the foundation, the framing, all that.
Last one. One thing every homeowner should be checking in their home annually. Although we kind of touched on this earlier because of my lack of maintenance.
Homeowner.
Yeah, like you purchased the home.
Mm-hmm.
It's year one. What should we be looking at?
Boy, that's
It could be multiple. This could be multiple choice.
yeah. I probably would say radon. Because
I didn't
that
think about that.
actually has a direct health concern. I promote all the time residential continuous monitors.
Yeah, we have.
They run
I have
about
one.
$150 to $200. You can get them at the $5,000, but you're
Yeah.
really getting but just something because it's a gas. It's changing all the time.
If you have a mitigation system in your home, do you still need that reader?
Yes.
Okay.
Because a manometer is only going to tell you it's drafting. It's not going to tell you the radon value.
Interesting.
It's not going to tell you the
See,
level of radon.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Because I have mitigation, so I thought, oh, I'm good.
No,
I'm gonna get one.
you're
I'm
not.
gonna get a meter now.
Because people will tell me, do I really need to have this radon evaluation? We got a radon system in here, and
Yeah.
the manometer is showing it's drafting. I said, well, what's the radon level? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, of course you don't, because the manometer just shows it's drafting. That's it. So that's why I'm a big proponent of the residential continuous monitors, because they actually give you a 3-day average. The other one is your gas lines.
Interesting. How do you can get those inspected?
Well, you could get a gas meter,
Okay.
gas detector.
Okay.
I would think that you could call Columbia Gas and they'd probably send out
True,
a technician at some
yeah,
point.
That's fair.
You could also get a plumber who's certified in gas, or literally contract a gas technician, because especially if you have a gas dryer, gas hot water tank, gas furnace,
Stove.
gas range,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fittings there.
Yeah.
And sometimes those fittings will back off a little bit, and you may not smell it, you may not detect it, but you may have a small gas leak taking place.
That's my biggest fear. You're making my anxiety go sky high now.
I did not mean to do that.
It's not easy. It's not very hard to do, but
Well, so again,
I'm adding to cart and Amazon. You can get these on Amazon, right?
what's that?
The gas meter,
The gas detectors?
gas detector.
Yes. And just make sure that you take like a little bit of a training course on
Okay.
what you're reading.
Okay.
But I just think it should be like a periodic and a common thing that we do in our
Yeah.
homes, because I think you have to be aware if a fitting has begun to fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
don't
like
let
you
it.
said, it's
yeah,
not like you're going to smell that if it's a tiny little leak, right?
not a little one.
Yeah.
But that's why I still check all the gas lines. No matter what if I smell it or don't smell it, I'm still evaluating the gas lines.
Yeah.
But don't let it don't operate in fear, operate in knowledge.
Okay. I like that. I feel like that's a good place to kind of wrap up. Operate in knowledge, not fear.
And that's what the home inspection process is
Wow.
gaining knowledge.
Did you pre-plan that? That was fabulous.
Every once in a while, a
You're really
a
like,
blind squirrel will find a nut every
wow.
once in a while. Yeah.
That's so true. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming today. I
Oh,
think
it's been
this
a
was
pleasure.
really, really helpful. What's the best way to reach you? We'll give your website. We'll drop that below.
Yeah, you can do
give me
a
a call.
Google search on
Okay.
Heritage Home Inspectors.
Okay.
Our 888 numbers down there.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
the best way to get a hold of us is through that 888 number. We have people who will send us messages to the website. Takes a little bit of time to get
Yeah.
to us. They'll send us emails. I don't check emails often because I'm running all day
Right.
long.
You're out and about. Yeah.
So you can text that number. You can
Perfect.
call that number. So that is the best source.
We'll have that on the screen for everyone to reach out.
I appreciate it.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I really thank you so much.
so much.